For another moment like this, you'll just have to learn from my mistakes. You don't know the half of it. I wish I could slow down these thoughts in my head. Have I been misread? Will the world pass by if I can't hold on? What should I do when I don't feel strong? I just wanna be here for now. What if I let go and just lose control? How do I find out what means the most? I just wanna be here for now. What do I do? How do I stay here? Gotta find you before it all disappears. What do I do? I'm feeling like a soul out of body, stuck on the outside looking in. When I slow down, I wonder if I'll be stumbling around waiting for the end. If our sky doesn't have a limit, then there won't need to be a finish. I wanna be in the life I'm living. Maybe I'm already winning. Will the world pass by if I can't hold on? What should I do when I don't feel strong? I just wanna be here for now. What if I let go and just lose control? How do I find out what means the most? I just wanna be here for now. What do I do?
Reaching out and my heart is with you. So much in between, things we've never seen. You're a mirage that my mind can't see through. Are you here with me? One day we can see. And all my life, unbroken ways. But I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. And all my life, unbroken ways. But I know that.
Wyatt Tinsley sends it to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Bar Bissell FTF Cup Series. Into the lead.
lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the apron. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas.
Get your foot there.
He's got it. He's got it. Get there. No.
Canvas is going to win.
Tonight, the battle for the WINSTEL Cup makes its way to the cloudy mountains of Pocono. Tonight, it's the Pennsylvania 500 for iRacing's virtual Pocono Raceway for the WINSTEL 2003 season here at FDF.GG. Good evening, everyone. Justin Pritz, Caleb Huffman, alongside Zach Johnson with you as we get set to get a little bit tricky at the triangle. Lots of tension coming into tonight. Lots of battles expected in the midst of the midsummer run. But the question marks remain, who can dictate the tempo at a track with 3 different types of corners, Caleb?
Yeah, not only 3 different types of corners here tonight, but with these big power Gen 4 cars, going to see speeds of almost 200 miles per hour here tonight. Going to be, again, one of the most technical racetracks on this schedule and going to be one of the most challenging tracks to come out of here with a win tonight.
Lots to discuss tonight, but first things first, drivers have already completed their 1 lap of qualifying over the course of 5 minutes and completed their final warm-ups. It's time to see how we get rolling here in Pennsylvania. On the pole tonight, in the red number 8, it's Dylan Roberts in the Bud Machine. Bob Bryant starts alongside in the Herbie Sadler car. Row 2, Sean Pellick looks to sparkle ahead for Hendrick Motorsports. What's the 80 car and an entry for Joe Gibbs Racing? Aaron Smith II alongside. Christian Budd starts 5th. Well, Tyler Head, he's been turning heads all season. Your points leader rounds out the top 3 rows, Caleb.
Absolutely. Looking back to row number 4, going to be Parker Alexander starting alongside James Holzer, the number 91 machine. Last week's winner at New Hampshire, Jose Solis Jr., is going to be starting in the 9th position. Thomas Lewandowski rounding out that top 10. Then you see row number 6, Brady Weileman starting next to Chris Champo.
Behind them in the grouping, row 7, Gabriel Mauricio looking to bounce back after a horrific run last time out. He dropped the 9th in the points from a crash. Kyle Benson looks to bring some cheer for M&M's today. Emily Howe starts row 8 alongside James Bowles, one of the rookies. Brendan McGee and Anthony Krobach, your first 9 rows.
Then looking on back to row number 10, going to be Mike Alexander starting next to the number 12 machine of Timothy Latham. Jonathan Hernandez in row number 11 with Steve Gauthier in 22nd. Matt Skipper in 23rd. And then Craig Lautenschlager in 24th.
Jeffrey McClintock deep in the field, 25th tonight in the Georgia Pacific Dodge. But Evan Long starting deep in 26 as well for Hendrick Motorsports. Tyler Murray starts alongside Brandon Cruz Montsevice. Philip Snipes, one of the rookies in 29th. Olivia Hayward, the second last driver on time. That brings us the last drivers in the field. Alex Bates last to set a time tonight of 56.3. Ali Osman, TJ Crampton, Lavik Zaire, along with Ken Huff and Hayden Repez, round out your 18 rows, 36 cars of entrants. And the chase for the WINSTEL Cup continuing to heat up to see who picks up the WINSTEL Cup championship. Expecting drivers to get themselves situated with Tyler Head leading the day, 48 points up over Zach Campbell in the championship. Ryan Doucette and Nicholas Doucette, along with Jose Solis Jr., all within 1 race to the points lead entering the day.
Yeah, going to be fun here for sure, and this is going to be a wild one again. One of the most technical racetracks on the schedule, and can't wait to get this thing underway.
See how this plays out for the drivers here tonight. Glad to have you with us here on FDF.GG. These competitors get ready to get a little bit tricky here in Pocono. Green flag is out. We're underway for the Pennsylvania 500. And we have trouble in the back. It's Jonathan Hernandez up on the wall. Caution flag is out. At least 6-7 cars slide in through turn 1.
And that's just Pocono for you. Mentioned this long front straightaway. And you see where it can cause trouble tonight as all these cars trying to get slowed down. Leads to a big stack up, and already, like you said, 5 or 6 cars involved. And some pretty significant contact and significant damage around the field.
Can report Ali Osman missed the start, so he was not involved in the melee. First 3 wide maneuvers from Hernandez. Everyone else, when Hernandez's move sees a turn, well, where do you go?
And so difficult. Again, multiple cars got turned just from people not anticipating that wreck. You'll get another view of it right here, and you see everybody start to fan out just a little bit. And as everybody gets crunched down into turn number 1, trying to get these cars slowed down, that slight bit of contact. Lots of secondary contact as well.
Yeah, 2 of the Petty Enterprises cars colliding in that. A couple of the others, there's some Pontiacs, some of the Hot CNC cars dodging. And perfect time to mention, there was a new restart procedure starting this weekend as well for Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week. WINSTEL instituting that, starting off these next 2 races that will be reviewed after this week, where essentially the single file line must be towards the bottom of the racetrack, leaving space to the outside. The leader of the lapper line would line themselves 1 lane to the inside of the race leader and maintain speed. All trailing cars, in turn, must be behind the car ahead of them, leaving space to the outside. So in other words, where that blue line is on that graphic, they have to leave space. So essentially, you're to the inside of the track. After the green, though, drivers are free to maneuver inside or outside in an attempt to either defend or improve the position. Any black flags will get waved in the sim, but also, if you try and jump the start to take advantage, it can be reported for review post-race. So that's a new policy in effect starting this week that WINSTEL is trying for the next 2 weeks.
And again, going to be fun to see how this new rule implementation affects these restarts, and should hopefully give us a more balanced restart here. We've seen the control car has just been dominant the last few weeks, and maybe this can level the playing field out just a little more.
Couple drivers getting repairs done. A lot of anxiety amongst those. Jonathan Hernandez, Jeremy McClintock. Majority of those in the incident, in fact, down the pit lane. But as these drivers continue to pace along, it's worth noting that Zach Campbell did not make tonight's race, unfortunately. As he said, 2 minutes before we took the green flag, I am not at home. Enjoyed the track, my friends. Remember, he was planning to come in, join the practice, and then learn the track without any practice coming in. Obviously, that's no longer the case.
And definitely gonna hurt his championship hopes for sure. Again, with the level of consistency that's needed, you don't want to be missing too many races here, but does have a good point standing to fall back on, and should still be in contention for this thing, even with this week's hamper.
Of note, Ryan just said also electing to take a drop week after trying to attempt to take a provisional, which is not a thing in WINSTEL, but is in some other series. So at the top of the caution, Bob Bryant, the race leader over Dylan Roberts. Peleg Smith II head the top 5. Remember the last time we seen Bob Bryant on the track? Well, he did Bob Bryant things and ran extremely well. Was in the conversation for the win, in fact.
And going to be one to watch out for tonight. I mean, albeit a different track in terms of driving style in Chicagoland, but still can take some things and translate it for sure would be the best way to describe it.
Of note, Hayden Ripa is electing to top off under this caution. Fuel window expected to be 20 laps to 22 laps at the very peak. And that could be critical later on, because with an 80% fuel limit today and a gigantic racetrack, you're basically saying it's a one-stopper at the Tricky Triangle and opens the door for 2 stoppers now with this caution. Or rather, 2 tire stops or splash and dashes.
Absolutely. Going to be interesting to see how that affects strategy here tonight. You know, could be, if we do get the right number of cautions, could even see some guys try to stretch it out a little. But going to be something to monitor here tonight for sure.
Again, it's Bob Bryan up at the front. The first time for WINSTEL with its new revised restart procedure. Will we see a clean start, or will we see electric boogaloo as everyone takes it 17.5 wide? Somewhere in between is likely the answer. Bob Bryan, a massive gap for the green. That was a little bit too massive.
And you see in the back already lots of dodging and weaving. Too wide for P number 4 is Tyler Head looking to make some noise. Gets to the inside. The number 80 machine of Aaron Smith will retain that position as they come off turn 1.
Having a rip around the outside line. Bud doing the same with James Holzer. Couple drivers, Tyler Murray and Philip Snipes, taking advantage to pick up a couple spots, but no major shuffles. Still though, the tunnel turn. Head inside, clears for 4th.
Oh, and the back end slipped out big time. A little further up, Sean Peleg looking to the inside of Dylan Roberts for the second position as they go down into turn number 3 here. And again, you can see just how much of a handful these race cars are. They come off 3, and it looks like Bob Bryan going to lead our first lap under green.
It's Bob Bryan in turn has led just about all the laps as a result of the caution early. It's going to be tricky, keep in mind. Very rainy conditions, as you can tell, with how the conditions are in sim. But also in turn, that means very cool track, 90 degrees. In turn, these drivers having to deal with a lot of humidity as well. It's worth noting that also means pretty slick despite the air and track temp.
Yeah, it can be deceiving for sure, because you think with those cooler track temps that it would naturally be a more grippier racetrack. But like you said, are seeing lots of slipping and sliding around already. And if the sun continues to come out like it's been peaking the last few laps, then we could be in for a handful tonight. Looking around the racetrack right now, everybody just logging laps. Jose Solis, we saw it in New Hampshire a little bit. Trying to use extra lines, was really sideways there off 3.
Didn't look too comfortable there. Solis back to 10th. And keep in mind, this is a track that is very wide, but is very line sensitive.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's just natural with the turns that these corners are based off of, and big wiggle out of the number 88 machine there. But you got to be super careful, because if you enter these corners wrong, if you use the wrong arc, then you can for sure get sent around, especially at the speeds we're traveling here today.
That was Willman, by the way, inside the top 15. But the Robert Yates Racing Machines holding onto the inside line, battling now for 16th with Anthony Krobach. Still early on in this race, coming up to 25 laps to go here at Pocono. Long run could be the big thing, especially in groupings such as this. Still fair big back, McGee amongst those. It's done well at times, keep in mind. Most of the field single file, interestingly enough.
Absolutely, and interested that nobody is trying to experiment with lines here. I mean, the closest we've seen is Solis, and even that, I think, was more of a result of discomfort rather than actually trying to experiment with different lines. But, you know, you can make this middle lane work at Pocono especially. We've seen it throughout this week in other series, and interested that no one is at least experimenting with it right now.
For those who remember last time out in New Hampshire, Jose Solis Jr. and a few of the drivers, we did get some feedback in the post-race interviews. Ryan Doucette didn't like the track. At least one of the drivers said they'd prefer this become a Walmart. This is in the middle of a area with only one road, by the way, to get to and from Pocono Raceway, so no. And it is a track that isn't easy. It's always been a part of that stretch really in the summer when you think about it, since the 70s.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, with where it's located, it's an optimal date for these summer conditions. But I mean, even so, we still seen a fair variance in weather here, and it can make this racetrack very interesting. We've seen lots of fuel strategy over the years here. These cars, man, Weileman has been so sideways the last few laps. Got to watch out for a lot of these guys because these cars can just go around on you so easy with how much horsepower they're packing under the hood. And you can see just how sideways that car is getting there in turn number 3. And it actually might be helping him out a little bit.
Able to hold on for 15th. Speaking of battles, though, this is for 2nd. Peleg alongside Roberts into the wall, in fact.
And you can see this 48 of Sean Peleg just kind of naturally forced up to that middle lane and just nothing there off the corner, really. You know, we've seen at some points that you're able to roll that outside lane a little more and use that momentum off the corner, but not seeing it so much right now.
Eric, a little bit of a grind up to the wall for Roberts as well. And it almost seems aero dependent, but at the same time, as the battle forms up involving 5th James Holzer to 5th, it's extremely difficult to pass here unless there's a mistake or you take advantage, like Aaron Smith II's trying to, of a driver who just got past to make a pass.
Absolutely, and that can lead to the aggressiveness that you'll see on restarts here, where you'll see cars try to push it 3 or 4 wide because they know that that's really the only opportunity you're going to get to pass in mass droves. As you see one car, the number 97, down on pit lane. That's Philip Snipes.
It's one of the rookies this season. Interestingly enough, magazines being sent to various league members, actually coming through the mail as recently as a couple days ago, where it basically mimics the viewpoint of NASCAR Illustrated. If you remember what that is, Caleb. Magazine back from the mid to early 2000s that spotlighted everything stock car racing. Various members of WINSTEL writing their own version for the entire spring portion of the season, as we take a look at the battle going on for 3rd.
This is a fun one right here. Tyler Head down to the inside of Sean Peleg, and we'll see if Peleg's able to roll this middle lane just a little better than he could with Dylan Roberts. I just don't think the grip is there right now, and you can see just how much of a handful this car is. No avail right now. Move Tyler Head to P3.
Indeed, but here's the interesting, how would you strategize this race now? We talked about how it, from actually this next lap onward, you can make it to the end on gas, projected. What would you do?
It's going to be interesting to see if we see anybody come down this time by to try to push it to the end, get their stop out of the way maybe. But again, with how important track position here, I'd believe you'd try to wait as long as you can, maybe hope for a caution or something of that sort.
It's worth noting that Philip Snipes from the pit stop, 12.7 second service, and did not lose a lap. Mauricio, meanwhile, did not have the funnest of times last time out. Mauricio with the run at New Hampshire, a 24th place finish, dropped him towards the back of the points, currently trying to battle with Howe and Kyle Benson, who has been shockingly off this year compared to his breakout last season.
And you can see getting through the tunnel turn here, so difficult. Mauricio tagged the grass a little bit, got that car bent out of shape. Here comes Benson down to the inside. Emily Howe, she's moved up, has that spot. Benson down to the inside of Mauricio, and that's getting dicey.
Still trying to make the move as Benson. And races like this are important. Just 7 counting starts for Benson so far this season. And depending on what happens, if he has a bad run tonight, he might fall out of the top 35 in points. Mauricio drops back meanwhile.
And it makes every position so much more important as you see the number 40 getting right on that rear quarter panel of the 38 of Benson, trying to get that car bent out of shape so it can set up a pass. You see right on the back bumper how close that number 40 machine is getting. We'll see Mauricio is able to set something up through the tunnel turn.
Not Not able to do so quite yet, but speaking of setups, Roberts was within a tenth of a car length to the back bumper Bob Bryant prior to this entry. He's looking for the setup. This is the closest anyone has gotten to Bob so far.
Yeah, last time by was 0.2 faster, and even then just 0.03 faster for Dylan Roberts. So reeling in the 0.2 just a little bit, but gonna have a little more work to do. As you see that 0.2 gonna slide up a little bit off the corner exit. That's going to open the door for Dylan Roberts here to the inside. Does he have track position as they go into the tunnel turn? He's gonna drop back behind, but this 8 is reeling in Bob Bryant for the lead.
This has been a much-needed run for Roberts, keep in mind. 2 finishes outside the top 10 in the past 3 races, including a 32nd in New Hampshire. Now he's looking for the race lead to try and find a way to get up to the front for a driver who's led 1 lap all year. At New Hampshire, mind you.
Roberts looking to the inside once again, and we'll see if he's able to utilize the draft here. Again, going to be such an important aspect here tonight. On board with his number 8 machine as they go down into turn 1, peeking down to the inside. Doesn't want to make too aggressive of a move here on lap 16. You'll see him try to set it up through the middle of the corner here, getting down to the inside. Bob Bryant's really been pushing that exit out.
Tower head in the popcorn seat as well. Here's the look on board from Roberts for the gyro. And listen to those RPMs, just how they're carrying, how high they are up on this chip and through the gears.
And you can hear shifting down into that 3rd gear in the tunnel turn, and then right there once again. And again, using that for better acceleration as the 8 car is going to step out just a little bit. Back into 4th and not making up much ground yet.
And it's time for the strategy roulette. Roush Racing bringing a couple drivers down. Bud coming down, Bull signaling the same. Jose Solis Jr. for RCR coming in this time by. What happens for the leaders now as Bob Bryant stays firm on the track? They are reaching traffic. Alex Bates, who is also already pit along with Mike Alexander, are just up the track for the leaders.
And interesting here is the first car that has pitted right now running in 20th, and that's the TJ Crampton machine. So not seeing a lot of guys who pit yet up towards the front, but we'll see if that changes. Sounds like Dylan Roberts is going to come in.
Roberts has indicated on the radios, so has Tower Head. Pocono, a very fast but tricky entry. Tower Head licking the stamp and gets to the speed limit in time. James Holzer comes in as the caution is out. It's a crash for 24th spot. Lubbock Zyra Munsto's involved. A stopped car and Jeffrey McClintock at the bottom of the track. Montsevice also involved. And this flips the field.
And that is the risk, and why I think it is so important that you try to stretch it as far as possible. You see McClintock, that's the 2nd incident he's been involved in tonight, and this one a lot more significant for that 45 machine. And you'll get the replay right here. You see Montsevice just turns the 11 into McClintock, and the 11 of Lilac Zier, not much that 11 car could do there.
Travis Carter, Motorsports machine, the trigger of the caution, already taking responsibility. Looking on board from McClintock. 2nd incident involved of the day.
Such an unfortunate turn of events here for that number 45.
So how does this now play out for the field? Because about a third did not pit. Bryant, Lewandowski, Howe, Parker Alexander, and several more did not roll down yet. Steve Gauthier just elected to come down as half the field still trying to catch up to this pace car. Meanwhile, Solis Jr. took 2, and everybody else took 4 tires in the midst of that caution sequence. Gauthier now smoking the motor.
Yeah, and that was really interesting. I think accidentally trying to catch up to the field trying to upshift into 4th gear again to get that speed up to catch up to the tail end of the field. Accidentally downshifted into 2nd gear and blew the motor for Gauthier, and that is gonna be terminal.
Nothing like a money shift at Pocono. That can happen. And keep in mind, everybody who's pit so far is still on the lead lap. Nobody lost a lap. Most of these drivers who had yet to pit potentially could cycle in the teens. We'll see how this goes. It's Bob Bryant to lead them down. This, the one stop for gas.
Gonna be interesting here, and you got to think that everybody comes in, for the exception of Sully, Spud, and Roberts, who all already pit.
Here in EOL also from pit situation for Kyle Benson from that caution timing. So it's Bryant, Lewandowski, Alexander, along with Willman, Howe, McGee, Krolbach, Latham, a few others who all come down this time by. TJ Crampton also amongst those in the mix. Mike Alexander has cycled to the lead. And now check that. He's cycled behind to 3rd with Solis Jr. and Bud up there as well. A lot to sort through. Let's take a break. When we come back, a lot of cars to see where they are in the deck of cards here on FDF.GG. Welcome back to Pocono. With the 1 to green, a lot to discuss here in WINSTEL action as we get ready for an 11-lap shootout and the track temperature rising. The field has essentially been scrambled. Solis Jr., Christian Budd, Mike Alexander is now your top 3. Philip Snipes stayed out on 10-lap-old tires in 4th. Bowles, Bates, Roberts, Head, Holzer, and Smith the second in the top 10. Drivers who just pit, 13th on back. This could get very wild.
Gonna be interesting. 12 laps to go already. Just crawling up on this end of this race.
Solis Jr., keep in mind, took 2 tires. Every other car, except possibly Philip Snipes, took 4. Green flag is out. Back underway. Holzer the first to duck out in line. Several more in the teens looking to do the same. Now it's Bowles to the inside of Snipes.
Bowles with a big move here. side by side into turn number 1, and we've seen this not end up well. 3 wide, a little further behind him. James Holzer on the inside, trying to make that work. Look at Tyler Head in the middle, trying to negotiate this. The 91 of Holzer tags the grass just a little bit, gets sideways, but gonna save it. Here comes Tyler Head and Dylan Roberts, both on the inside.
Holzer trying to block the line. Smith the second boxed in. Head trying to move ahead as the first of those on somewhat fresher tires. Roberts able to get up to 4th. All in that sea of cars, though. Bob Bryant, the first of those who came in under the caution period, is taking it 3 wide.
Bryant making it right there in turn number 3. Don't know how they're making this 3 wide work as they all come off, getting close.
For the lead, Christian Budd to the inside of Solis Jr. One car crashes coming in towards the pits. We stay green as the 31 of Ken Huff crashes in the lane.
Watch this group. Oh, Bob Bryant's going to get turned. Peleg around, Maruccio around, and multiple cars involved. It looks like Brendan McGee as well is going to save it. But Bob Bryant, the dominant car of the day, in the wall.
Caution flag is out on the speedway for the 3rd time. All going on for the battle for 10th. You could sense it happening. Peleg a part of the trigger.
Yeah, gotta be shocked here if that 48's not gonna claim that one, because I believe that was all on the Lowe's machine. You see, just sends it a little too hard on entry, and I mean, no fault of his own, but got to be a little more careful than that when you got all those different cars around you. I think that's Olivia Hayward slides in at the end.
Peleg the only one with mandatory damage, by the way. But yeah, definitely got the back end, right rear to the bumper.
Just a tough break, and I mean, that's such a difficult task when you got that many cars around you. You're 3 wide, and you're trying to not get around Bob Bryant, but I mean, still hold your own right there, not get eaten alive by everybody else around you. Just one of the most difficult things to do in all of racing there in turn 1 at Pocono. And Parker Alexander goes around as well. That's what tags McGee.
That was a great effort from the 88, though. Brady Wilman.
Emily Howe as well did a great job avoiding that one.
Lavix there saying Tokyo Drift. Someday it will grip up. The day is now.
There you go. Get that little bit of pavement, now you're good.
By the way, she is running 22nd. But with under 10 laps to go, cue the track position music. Welcome to Quiz Essential Pocono.
Again, going to be interesting here as we are closing in on the finish of this race, taking some of these laps down under caution. How aggressive are you? I mean, Solis, got to think, is in the best position right now. Christian Budd was, making advances, but wasn't quite there. Mike Alexander's in this as well. Dylan Roberts and James Bowles were really eye-catching, as well as Tyler Head as well. But again, it's going to be so difficult to predict here as the dominant car of the day, as you see more cars on pit road. And Bob Bryant with damage now. And I don't think it'll be terminal, but I think it's going to knock him out of contention for this one.
So Brian amongst those indeed coming down for the tires and some of the repairs. And drivers are being told you have to maintain the gap, but also have the speed. There is that discussion since this has been an intriguing race on that part so far. As we sort things together here, let's talk about some of these drivers up in front that look to try and shock the field, so to speak. James Bowles, best run of the season. Great track position, had been running in around the edge of the top 10 in the 99 from 16th starting spot. A one-time Major Series Daytona 500 winner, and a driver who runs in various leagues, including such as that of Rod Carr, that may pop up to mind. Can this be the day someone like him shocks yourself forward, Caleb?
Yeah, has an opportunity here for sure, but it's going to be difficult getting around Solis, and especially with how much I think Solis has to fight for up inside the top 5 of these points. And I mean, looking around right now, even Dylan Roberts, Tyler Head, all within the top 6. I mean, this is a very intriguing points fight up at the top. And want to give the underdogs their light for sure, but I think that's the bigger storyline right now is Tyler Head really trying to defend this points lead in the latter half of this season from the likes of Solis, who has been really on a hot streak the last few weeks.
Especially with Solis Jr. trying to creep back into the championship conversation. For always 159 points back of Tyler Head as the race plans forward. So looking like a 6-lap shootout. Anthony Krobach, Steve Gauthier, Jeffrey McClintock, Ali Osman out of the race. Endor not starting. Murray, Bates, Pellick, and Huff, significant damage repair. Pellick has taken responsibility for the caution.
And getting prepared for this restart again, and Solis did a fantastic job. Good note from our producer. Definitely, if you are that third place Mike Alexander, don't want to reenact what happened here to Ken Schrader in real 2003. If you remember that flip in the tunnel turn.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was not a pretty incident back then for the BAM Racing Dodge. It had some stellar runs, that car. Rockingham comes to mind, actually, to Schrader that year. But keep in mind as well, that is not the same Alexander you're thinking about, where it's the Ken Alexander. That's Mike Alexander, Magic Mike, from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. Looks to try and find a way forward, but is on one of the older tires stints in the field. Coming up to lap 27. 6 to go when the green flag flies. Solis Jr., Bud, Alexander, the top 3. Can the RCR Chevy hold off the Roush Racing Ford or the BAM Racing Dodge back underway? And everybody wants to pass Roberts.
Oh, look at Tyler Head sitting at 3 wide all the way down. Might be in position to pass for 3rd after restarting 6th here. Gonna duck behind Roberts for the time being.
Oh, a clip to the curb for Solis Jr. They keep it clean for now. Roberts underneath Alexander. Bowles on top of Roberts. Head alongside a bit of Holzer as well as Bowles. Now for the lead. Bud with the poke. Can't get there.
Yeah, definitely sacrificed the entry to try to get a better run off the exit, and we'll see if that holds true. Going to peek to the inside once again, going into 3. Solis using that middle lane. Now going to arc back to the bottom. Keep that 29 up at the top. Dylan Roberts able to negotiate around Mike Alexander. Head to the inside of Alexander as well as they all come off 3 now.
Into the wall goes Alexander. Holzer passes by. 10 more miles to go. Near 3 wide as everyone tries to pass by Alexander. Aaron Smith the second alongside James Bowles now just inside the top 5.
Here comes Bud once again. Got a better run off turn number 1 down the first backstretch here, going into the tunnel turn. That number 17 to the inside of the number 29 of Solis as they go through the tunnel turn. Can he keep it? No.
Bit of a slide. A drift. But inside, here comes Roberts to make it 3 wide on the crossover. Bud with a hard block to the grass.
Oh man, 4 cars right under a blanket here. Make it 5 as James Holzer tries to make it into the picture, makes contact with Tyler Head. That's going to impede both of them and make it only 3 cars. Once again, move Dylan Roberts into 2nd place.
Holzer dropping back with Head and Dean for the fight for 4th. Solis Jr. to the wall. Christian Bud leaning at the stripe. Now it's Roberts on the outside. Dylan Roberts taking the air off the spoiler off the corner.
Using that momentum to the outside comes Dylan Roberts. Solis still in striking distance. Keep in mind, do Tyler Head or James Holzer have anything to say? Still side by side for the lead as they go into the tunnel turn. Number 8 on the outside with the 17, and Christian Budd going to be sliding off turn number 2.
Roberts looking to clear. Just about does clear. Christian Budd looking for his second win. Roberts looking for his first after only leading 1 lap in the previous races on the season. 3 to go at the stripe, 2 by 2.
Here comes Tyler Head to the outside of Solis, still side by side for the lead here. Looks like Christian Budd's now going to be able to clear Dylan Roberts for the lead. Roberts will try to send it in, doesn't quite have it, but here comes Tyler Head. You don't want to count the current points leader out of this thing at all as they go down the first backstretch.
Budd now looking to snake down the straightaway, and the caution is out. It's for 27th place. Slow down the racetrack as the 88, but the cause of the caution is back there. It's Alex Bates and Tyler Murray. So the RCR Chevy collides with the MB2 Motorsports Pontiac in the battle for 27th.
And 2 separate incidents there. The one that caused the caution ended up being with, as the aforementioned,
Whoa.
10 and 30. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. The 88 of Weileman got the rear tires lifted up off the ground with contact from Bowles. You see, just gets sideways, and then the 99 lifts the rear tires off the ground, and they do a really good job not to spin those cars out. But not the cause for the caution. That's a little further back. There is Alex Bates. Again, same deal. Gets sideways off turn number 1, has the 30. Right there, and just that little bit of contact sends them both around. Tyler Murray, just, I mean, there's not really much you can do in that situation.
So those 2 drivers bring the major trigger for the caution flag. Interesting enough, Brady Willman is still in 15th despite that, but it's now WINSTEL overtime. Point into return already crossed. 2 laps no matter what for green to determine the race winner. We already seen how intense the battle was between Budd, Roberts, and what looked to be Tyler Head at a moment. Now, how do you play this out? For reference, those who have the freshest tires are still in 7th. Long way from first.
And gotta wonder if that advantage is gonna be noticeable here. It's only 3 laps of difference, and even a lot of that's been run under caution here. So I feel like the best situation to be in would be that of Tyler Head, Dylan Roberts, Christian Budd up at the front right now, because they not only have the track position, but still have at least manageable equipment for the time being.
Once those coming down for stops towards the back, Snipes, Skipper, Pellig, Murray, Zaire. Those have been drivers involved in several incidents today. But this has been a thriller in these later stages here at Pocono. After keeping calm, intensity levels definitely picked up a lot of bit after all. By the way, Tyler Murray has claimed responsibility for one of the causes of caution. End of longest line. So he was already back there in 32nd.
And I don't know on this restart. Again, not much time left to do anything here, but you got to watch out for big moves coming from Dylan Roberts. Tyler Head made it 3 wide on that last restart. Wouldn't be shocked to see him do the same thing here. James Holzer as well has been super aggressive, and how aggressive is somebody like Solis going to be in the 5th position, who has led a fair chunk of the latter half of this race, wants to get back up to the front for sure.
All these drivers looking to pick up ground on that points lead Tyler Head controls. I will say this, for Aaron Smith II, we've seen him off and on this season as well, to mention some of those various names up at the front. When it comes to Smith II, always been around the league scene, very competitive, just his 4th start of the season. He's had a lot of bad luck, though, in those previous attempts to start. First time he's been really running the top 10 all season. after finishing a best of 16th at the paperclip back on April the 23rd. He'll be starting 6th on the restart.
Lots of aggression expected from him for sure. And I mean, definitely don't want to discount somebody like Thomas Lewandowski back here on the fresher tires, because again, the difference might be marginal at this point in the run, but it has to account for something. If he gets a good enough restart here, maybe expect something here. But officially to the point of no return, this finish from Pocono gonna be wild.
Once again, if you cause a caution, if you're bound to cause it, expect a possible penalty. Let's put it politely in terms of that race control procedure. Also, we've seen how crazy in the past on iRacing, I think we both can speak this, a lot of crashes happen on restarts here. You better hope not to be in it.
And we've seen it here at Pocono, especially if you were here with us on Thursday night, had our fair share of crashes. So not something that, you know, you could be surprised at with Pocono, but definitely want to see it clean and green here to the end. A bunch of hard racing to be anticipated here between 3 great drivers, even 4 on back looking throughout this field. Lots of race contenders here. Going to be interesting to see if Christian Budd can hold off the surging Dylan Roberts or Tyler Head, and if Tyler Head can pad to his points lead here.
2 laps to decide it. 5 miles. Who gets back to take the checkered at Pocono? Budd, Roberts, and Head, top 3. Pace car is off. Green flag is out. 2 laps to go. And Roberts already to the outside. Roberts looking to pull back Budd. Head looking to set it up as Solis Jr. tries to block inside.
Already utilizing that new restart rule as they go into turn number 1. Dylan Roberts to the outside. Budd's going to slide up. That's going to give the momentum, I think, to Dylan Roberts as they come off turn number 1 side by side. Can Tyler Head do anything?
They're dead even still. Head watches for the tunnel turn. Budd keeps it up inside. No give. Roberts on the pinch.
And watch Christian Budd right here. Here comes Tyler Head to try to make it 3 wide. He's going to try to block him. Not there. 3 wide for the lead as they go through turn number 3. Make sure nobody gets sideways here. Little bit of contact maybe between Budd and Roberts.
A slide from Budd. Budd trips it. Now it's Tyler Head inside for the lead. White flag is out. Final time around from Pocono. Howe saves it down the front. Here comes the chance with Holzer in tow. Roberts on his preferred groove. Head sticking the first seam.
Still 4 cars under a blanket right here. Back into Head's going to slide out just a little bit. Here comes Dylan Roberts with the run. Has the lead. Is able to clear Tyler Head. Can they get back to Dylan Roberts? They're chasing him into the tunnel turn. Side by side for second. Tyler Head, James Holzer, they're still side by side. Going to get clear. But is it Dylan Roberts' race to lose now?
Dylan Roberts all season long has been in the conversation for race wins. He's been in the conversation for top 5s, but didn't have the lead laps. Tonight, he looks to play things defensive off the final corner. Dylan Roberts, for the first time this season, is a winner in WINSTEL. His first win since the last campaign, finally, after being so close all year. What a finish, and what a race, Caleb.
Absolutely, and what a drive from Dylan Roberts there on that final restart. Tasked with passing Christian Budd and holding off Tyler Head. Somehow utilizes that middle lane that we didn't see much of all race and uses all of that to get into victory lane here. Again, what a drive.
For Dylan Roberts, it's the first time the number 8 machine has gone to victory lane in WINSTEL competition since March the 6th, 2022 in California. Several seconds since then at Sonoma, the paperclip, Atlanta, and of course Sonoma once more later on in the year. Tense fight in this one. Hearing some tempers flared at the back of the field. TJ Crampton in 16th, and we'll see what's going on in that circumstance later on. But it's Roberts who gets to do the celebratory burnouts here in Pennsylvania.
And gets the burnouts. Like you said, it was a little bit of drama, but we're all right. Actually had one car flip post-race in turn number 1. It was the number 15 of Emily Howe. So while you see one DEI car celebrate, another one went flipping, and you'll see it right here. This is the one machine of Alexander just gets a little loose off the corner. But watch the 15 right here. Goes for a wild ride in turn number 1.
Now, apparently, WINSTEL has made a change in policy where there used to be drivers who wreck it into turn 1. Apparently, TJ Crampton was the only driver in the field to miss that memo from 3 months ago.
Yeah.
A few drivers were not happy about that. But let's take a look at your unofficial race results. Dylan Roberts takes the win tonight for the Pennsylvania 500 and does so, holding off Tyler Head and Christian Budd in an intense fight that lasted the final third of this race. James Holzer finishes off in 4th tonight with Mauricio and Solis Jr. top 6. After being one of the fastest drivers in the first third of the race, Bob Bryant charged back to 7th on the recovery drive. Lewandowski, Smith the 2nd, Howe, your top 10 tonight from Pocono.
Looking on back, Brennan McGee finishing in the 11th position. Timothy Latham, 12th. Evan Locke in the 13th position. Chris Champo was involved in one of the incidents. Good rebound to finish 14th. Mike Alexander was inside that top 3. One of the late race restarts falls all the way back to 15th. TJ Crampton, the aforementioned drama there, finishing in the 16th position. Brady Weileman also involved in a few incidents tonight. A nice drive to come home 17th. Jonathan Hernandez, 18th. Kyle Benson in the 19th position. Then James Bowles rounds out our top 20 here from Pocono.
21st, Craig Laudenslager. 22nd, Parker Alexander after the incident down the front straight away. Then it's Brandon Coons, Runsabais, and Lomick Zaire amongst the top 24. Hayward, Snipes, Bates, and Huff, along with Reeves and Skipper, the top 30. One other driver finished on the lead lap in Tyler Murray. The rest of the drivers laps down include Sean Pellig and DNFs for Krolbach Gauthier, as well as McClintock. Ali Osman. Not great season for the 5 machine after being a playoff driver last campaign in WINSTEL. Did not take the green. That's looked top to bottom on your unofficial race results from Pocono for WINSTEL action. It's Dylan Roberts, though, who gets to celebrate his first victory in more than a year after leading just 1 lap. And that came last week all season. He breaks through at Pocono. Dylan, you finally are back in victory lane. You've been close several times this year. How does it feel to break through now?
Oh, it feels amazing. I mean, it's been quite a while, like you said, over a year. I mean, I think it was the 3rd race last year, was it? Auto Club. It's I mean, you got to give it a hats off to these guys up front. It's insanely hard to win these races. It's very, very competitive, but we race really, really hard and clean, and that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was surprised to see the statistic of the laps led, but how would you describe that hunger tonight to try and pounce on the opportunities like you did when the caution started to fly during the cycle?
Oh yeah, I didn't want. I think it was the second to last one. I was hoping we would go green to the end. I thought that might have been my chance, but those restarts just kept kind of going my way. I kept getting the lanes that I wanted to get, and I was able to kind of control my own destiny to an extent, which is always nice. I mean, it's easy to get caught behind a checkup here, and once you lose your momentum, I mean, you're just a sitting duck. So it was nice that all worked out, and just can't believe we won that one. I've been hungry for it. It's been quite a while.
Well, the next track on the docket is one you've done well at in the past as well. It's the Brickyard. The Brickyard 400, one of the crown jewels. Thoughts on 35 laps at Indy?
Definitely looking forward to it. I've always had a soft spot for Indy and stock cars. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I've always enjoyed racing there. I think it's probably the closest we're going to get to the racing we had tonight. So I think that definitely bodes well for me, you know, coming off a win here. Just going to hope we can ride the momentum. And I mean, another top 5, top 10, that'd be great. Maybe even a win, but I don't know. These guys are so fast. It's hard to be up front consistently.
Well, congrats on your first victory in a while. Dylan, it's your first of the year. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Dylan Roberts with a breakthrough tonight after being close several times this past few months. In fact, as well as second place several times last season too. Towerhead is second today. He's with Caleb.
And Tyler, great job here tonight to come home second. But do you got a bitter taste in your mouth knowing how close you were to the win there?
Yeah, if I could get turn one on the white flag lap back to try to get off that corner a little bit better, I would sure take that opportunity. But I can't really be too disappointed because went into that white flag lap side by side with a chance to win the thing. So really, really proud of all the racing, all the good hard racing that happened up towards the front early and often in this race. And, happy to have a really good result. Have been a little bit down on speed since we got back from the summer break. Last week wasn't the quickest and felt a lot more competitive this week.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's been a just dominant season for you with 3 wins, looking for your 4th right now. But your 9th top 5 of the year. Looking ahead, do you feel good about your speed going into the Brickyard?
Yeah, I think a few hours ago, before we got a little bit more practice in and I found something, I would have been a little bit more worried about the Brickyard. But, turn 2 here is kind of your replicant of those corners at Indianapolis. And I felt like that was one of my stronger suits. So hopefully that's going to translate next week. And, just feeling really good about how the season's going and really, really happy to have a good bunch of people to race with each week because that was a lot of fun at the end.
Well, absolutely. And a hard-fought second place here tonight for you, not only having a fight with Christian Budd and Dylan Roberts, the eventual race winner, but had James Holzer there side by side with you for a little bit. We'll let you get back to it. Congratulations here tonight. A great job, a great drive from you. And again, the dominance this season just continuing here at Pocono.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That is second place finisher Tyler Head. Back to you, Justin.
Third spot tonight, Christian Budd. Budd had been the one in control in the final restart and had been battling hard with Dylan Roberts. Christian, first of all, third place tonight. Describe your viewpoint from the battle back and forth between you and Roberts to the final restart.
Yeah, it was a good race. Congrats to Dylan. Happy to see him win. He needed it. I know this season it was I feel like he's been deserving it and just hasn't got it yet. So happy to see him win. As far as the race from my perspective, it's pretty good. Just didn't execute when I needed to, unfortunately, and wish I had won it. But third place still good points day.
What would you change then to be able to execute?
Pretty much felt like I had pace to qualify on pole and didn't qualify on pole because I made a mistake coming out of one, and then hitting that last restart just didn't get it how I needed to, and Dylan got a run to my outside, and then unfortunately that just kind of set me up to get put 3 wide there going into 3 with Tyler, and I wish it hadn't seen that last caution. I think I could have got him on that that last little run we had, but that's not how it worked out.
Brickyard is next. Your thoughts on Indy?
It's been one of my favorite tracks, honestly. Was in a position to win there last year and just didn't work out again, but looking forward to it with these cars with a little more horsepower. That track is kind of similar to this. If we can get some green flag running, then that would be great. It should be fun. Setups this year have been really good, so thanks to Emily for all the hard work on that, and hopefully we can pull off a victory there. That would be awesome.
Well, congrats to the top 3 regardless, Christian. Good run.
Thank you.
Once again, thanks to top 3, Christian Budd, Tyler Head, Dylan Roberts for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on FDF.GG. The next time out on the racetrack, it's Indianapolis Motor Speedway, taking place July the 30th. That starts once again around 8 p.m. Eastern time here at FDF.GG. 35 laps on the docket for the prestigious racetrack. But keep an eye on how these drivers play things out at Indy. But Caleb, Your final thoughts on what we've seen at Pocono, a track that includes one of those turns. It just so happens the title turn is 4 of those Indianapolis Motor Speedway turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a fantastic race here tonight, I think, on all counts. Had a fair bit of strategy mixed in, but just good, clean racing at the front. Super hard racing for the win is exactly what you want to see, and I think that's exactly what we got here. So much fun to watch guys like Tyler Head climb up through the field, Dylan Roberts as well, with gambling on that strategy just a little bit. When that caution came out, didn't know if it was going to quite work out, but in the end it did, and comes out of here with a win. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Tyler Head and Christian Budd, all on great runs tonight.
On that note, though, it's time to say goodbye. For producers tonight, Zach Johnson, for Caleb Hoffman, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching the WINSTEL 2003 season from iRacing's virtual Pocono Raceway. We'll see you next time from the Brickyard.